Hello everyone, I hope you're well. In this video, I want to talk about Mistborn. It's a book I've been reading, like an actual book, not manga. It doesn't have pictures in it, this has actual real words. Um, and it's a fantasy novel. It's quite popular, I think. It's written by Brandon Sanderson. I think he wrote or helped write Wheel of Time and some of these other series. Um, yeah, and I just wanted to recommend it. So, basically, to set the scene and let you know what it's about. Um, it's basically set in this kind of dystopian medieval fantasy world where there is a lot of people who are poor. There's a noble class, and then there's a ruler who's essentially immortal. And the story goes about a group of kind of thieves from the peasant class or the slave class, whatever you want to call them, who are trying to overthrow this empire. But it's all kind of done initially under the guise of like a heist. So the power system in this story uses metals. It's about certain metals, and it's called allomancy. And so yeah, this story is initially done under the guise of like, hey, we're gonna go and steal all of this rulers' precious metals and destabilize the entire economy. But obviously, it turns out to to be a bit more kind of like heroic than that. Let's call it. Let's put it like that. Um, and I really enjoyed this book. The actual world itself is very interesting if you like world building and stuff like this. There's a lot left to the imagination. And then for the magic system and stuff like that, and like the combat system, if you want to call it that, I don't know. It kind of seems like a hard magic system. Like if you like Hunter x Hunter, I'm a big Hunter x Hunter fan. Um, and that's like Nen is you it's written out like you could write a book on how this stuff works, right? Like everything's thought of. And if you compare that to something like Lord of the Rings, where it's kind of more there's not strict and hard rules about how things work, right? It's just a story that has certain elements to it, and that's not to say one is better than the other, right? It's just different styles of writing in different power systems, and this kind of I feel like has a mixture of both. It leans a lot more towards this kind of strict rules about certain metals and what they can do and all this kind of stuff. But I won't ramble on about that too much. But if you like power systems, that's cool. Now, the actual story itself is pretty interesting because it follows like a young girl. So the main character is actually like a young girl who has been treated pretty poorly her whole life, and she ends up joining this thieving group that obviously plans to kind of overthrow the entire empire. And so it's kind of interesting because you get to see her come out of her shell and kind of become, I guess, like a real person, and understand that you can trust people and have feelings, and that sometimes that can lead to a lot of happiness and obviously sadness too, right? Because you have more to lose when you care about people. Um, and something I really liked about this book, especially, is when things happen and these characters talk and events events happen. There's none of this kind of how in a story or in a movie, excuse me, something happens and you're like, oh my gosh, like why did they do that? That was so stupid. And then the whole story is about like them trying to fix this stupid decision because they just didn't communicate properly. This doesn't happen in this book. When people think things, they say it. When people feel things, they say it. And it's just nice. That's like refreshing. It's like there's no, well, maybe there's a couple, but there's not really any like stupid decisions being made, or like the whole story like kind of being based on someone doing something stupid, right? And in fact, the story itself, there's a lot of layers to what's actually happening and what the actual plan is as well. So that's cool, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, it's kind of it's nice to read like that, right? Like it's not like people doing stupid things. It's people acting like people should act towards each other. So if you like stories like that, you'll probably like this. And another thing that happened is like, so like I said, the main character is a young girl. She's like 16 or 17, and the main dude, he's like an older guy, I guess, and he sort of like leads the way and starts looking after her and bring her into the fold. And I don't know, maybe I've just been corrupted by watching too much like anime in the past or something like that, or like these shows, because I was like, please don't let this be a romance, like come on. And it wasn't. Spoilers, I know, sorry, but no, it wasn't. He's much more of a father figure to this girl, as he should be, right? Like, and as the story portrays it. But I was like, is this normal? Like, as in, have I been corrupted by anime and all these weird shows so much that like I thought something weird was gonna happen? So I'm glad it was just like a normal relationship between them, and then the rest of the crew kind of acts really cool as well. Um, and the only criticism I think I have of the book, of the story, is like it's kind of predictable at times, or it's written in a way where it kind of hints at something, but it hints so obviously that you can kind of guess what that means, or guess what's going to happen next, right? So there was a couple times where I was reading and they explain it, and it's like almost so obvious then, like what's going to happen. So it probably could like kind of leave those parts out. In my opinion, I'm not a professional writer or anything. So yeah, but overall, like I really enjoyed this. If you like fantasy, check it out. If you like magic systems, check it out. If you like cool world building, check it out. Or if you just want to kind of read something different, then yeah, check it out. That's it. So peace.